just introduce yourself first?
Yeah, my name is Salvador Perez. Like Kristen was saying, I am a wildland firefighter, as what we refer to it. The difference being the other side, what I guess most of you are used to seeing is the municipal firefighter, the red engines. Those are more the city type engines who deal mostly with structure fires, vehicle fires, and also medical aids. Myself as a wildland firefighter for the United States Forest Service, we deal mostly with brush fires and the fires that you guys see going on that take weeks or months to put out. And our trucks, I don't know if you could see behind me, they're green. So they're not the normal red, like what you guys are used to seeing. I know it's a little, some people still don't know, what a green truck does. I know when I was growing up, I never saw a green fire truck. So when I started here, it was kind of, everything was new to me. Aside from doing wildland fires, we also respond to medical aids that happen here in the mountains when people come to recreate, specifically here in Crystal Lake. This is where my station is. When people come up, to recreate, if they have a medical aid or their vehicle goes over the side of the hill, we'll respond. This is kind of our jurisdiction. And not only do we respond to this local area, but we are a national resource, meaning we can respond anywhere in the nation, as far as Alaska, Florida, even Hawaii. And in some rare cases, and when there's big emergencies, we can go international. This last year, in the beginning of the year, I don't know if you guys remember, but Australia had some trouble and they were burning up pretty good. So we sent a pretty large crew over to go help out. So it's not just local, we'll go anywhere and everywhere.
Wow. Yeah. And I see, if you guys have any questions, and I can't necessarily see who's raising hands, but you can always put it in the chat, or I think you can do the little raise hand thing and I can get to you. But so if somebody gets lost in the mountains, that's kind of your jurisdiction?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, our main focus, or 90% of our calls are going to be wildland fire calls. But there's also chances that we get called to do a search and rescue, or we do some medical aids, maybe a traffic collision or an injured hiker, anything like that. And just pretty much the same as the municipal, the red trucks that you guys are used to. The only difference is that we don't go into structures unless there is a life threat. Then we'll go into a structure, but we are not trained to be going into structures and be putting out structure fires. We'll put them out from the outside, but we don't go inside. That would be the main difference.
Okay, so next slide is training and education.
Yeah, also real quick, I just kind of want to touch, I put these pictures up just to kind of show the different, I guess, crews that we have with the Forest Service. Municipal, they have, either an engine or a truck company. We have different types, kind of like that, but me, myself, I'm on an engine, as you guys could see behind me, and it's a 5-person crew. It could sit 5 people, and we pretty much deploy hose, lay hose on the ground, and shoot some water on the fire. There's also, we have hot shot crews, which is a 20-person crew or 22-person crew. What they do is just go out and hike into remote locations where it's difficult to get a vehicle in there, as like an engine or anything else, a bulldozer. and they just start cutting line. And what I mean by cutting line is they'll use chainsaws or other specialized tools to just remove the brush, pretty much taking the fuel away from the fire, so it doesn't have any more fuel to spread. And then along with the hotshot crews, you see there's a guy jumping out of a plane, which is they're called smoke jumpers. And it's pretty much the same as a hotshot, except they jump out of planes and carry a lot of weight with them. And they're doing the same thing. They're cutting line to remove that fuel from the fire. And then you'll see another guy's rappelling from the helicopters, and that's the helitech crew. And same thing as a smoke jumper, same as a hot shot, except they just rappel from the helicopter. So there's different avenues that you could go as far as fire within this agency. So I just kind of wanted to point that out real quick.
That's really cool. And it looks like, so you put down the training and education needed. So a high school diploma and recommended is a bachelor's of fire science.
Yeah, absolutely. It's highly recommended, but it's not necessary to have that bachelor's. The only things that are required is to have that high school diploma or a GED and to be 18 years old. But if like with anything, if you better yourselves, go to school, put more things on your resume, you're going to stand out more to, a captain who's maybe trying to choose his crew.
Mm-hmm.
He might choose somebody that has his bachelor's over somebody that doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But that will also, help out, and also with your knowledge on the job. And for the training and qualifications, there are some wildland academies that you could find at local community colleges. Myself, I went to Wildland, which is located in Whittier, and they have a great program. It's about 5 months, I believe, of just training and what the job is, and giving you the knowledge that you'll need to start working with this force, with the agency. Those colleges as well also offer just basic fire courses. It's not necessary an academy, but just like a regular class that you'll take at a college level. And there you'll learn more about fire and the science behind it. Also, like some weather classes. We're very big on weather. That helps us a lot with what we do, and as far as kind of predicting what the fire might be doing. One of the three things that we look for most is the temperature, humidity, and the winds. And those three things they're not exactly going to tell us what to do, because they could always change instantly, but they could give us a good idea as to what the fire might be doing or is going to want to do. And then also the EMT. For the Forest Service, where I am at, it's not required to have that EMT, but it is helpful. A lot of times we're out in remote locations where access is very limited. You can't get an ambulance, and even if you do get an ambulance, you're still very far from a hospital. So having an EMT on a crew is beneficial, not only for your crew, but for yourself as well. But if you do decide to go to the municipal side, fire departments like LA County, LA City, Riverside County, San Bernardino County, I believe they do require you to have that EMT. So it's always good to get started on that.
So an EMT certification is emergency medical technician. How long is that program to be an EMT?
So that program is, it depends. You could find some public schools, like Citrus College, another community college, which is where I went to. there's Mount Sac, Rio Hondo. Those courses are usually a semester long, which is about 4 months, I believe, 4 or 5 months. There's also private schools where you could do a quick crash course, and those maybe be about 4 weeks long. And it all depends on you, on how well you retain information, and you know what you want to get out of it. But it's a lot of information that they're throwing at you all at once, and so you just got to be able to retain it and you know, just go from there. Yeah.
Okay, and definitely you have to be in physically fit condition. Do they have like a certain criteria that you have to meet in order to be a firefighter?
Yes, so there is, for our agency, we have what's called a pack test. And what that is just, you know, you walk around, it can either a track or anywhere they could find, but it has to be 3 miles, and you're carrying a 45-pound vest with you. For our job and for what we do, I could tell you right now that is very easy, and you won't do anything as easy as that on the job. So once you pass that, you still need to, you know, be able to carry our pack, our fire pack that we carry on our backs all day, weighs about 45 pounds. And when you add that with some hose packs that we have, a hose pack could weigh about 35 pounds. So you got like 78 or 80 pounds with you right there. And we also have chainsaws that you're carrying. So that would be the bare minimum, the 3 mile walk with the 45-pound vest. And that's on flat surface. I don't remember last time I ever fought a fire on flat surface. So it's very steep, especially here on the Angeles, where it's very steep country. I have my pack here, if you guys wanted to see, so you could see kind of what I'm talking about. So a pack like this, you're probably going to be carrying with you all day, as long as you're on the fire line. And this, like I said, could weigh, depends on the person, anywhere from 35 to pounds. On top of that, you're gonna have to be carrying this hose pack, just like a regular backpack. And that could be, I believe that weighs about 35 pounds maybe. And then there are also chainsaws, which we're really big on here. Just to cut, you're hiking with this all day. Put it over your shoulder, you hike, your gear's still on you. And then once you get to where you're gonna work, once you're done hiking, then you gotta get to work. And so start cutting. So it's very, very important. Physical fitness is very important, not only for the safety, but your enjoyment of the job. If you're not in good shape, you're not gonna be enjoying this job, and you're not gonna wanna do it.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna just kind of go to the next slide, and as people have questions, maybe we'll save them at the end.
Sure.
Salary range.
Yeah,
Now I
salary.
have heard that like, at least like LA Fire, they make pretty good money and they have good benefits or something like that.
Yes, and they do. You heard right. You know, the municipal departments, they do make good money. They have great retirements, and which is why that's where a lot of people want to go. But for ourselves, so we're federal, our salaries are not that great, as you could see here, and our retirement is it's okay. You know, I would say. What I would say is what a lot of people do is they start their careers here with the Forest Service to gain that experience, because it is a little bit easier to get into this agency. They'll start here, get that experience, the fire experience, and then try and transfer or get hired onto with a municipal agency where they can make more money. I would say though that these numbers, I know they don't look good. Don't worry, guys. It's okay, but this is just based on our base salary. Um, where we make our money is on overtime, and when we get fires.
Mhm.
So in a 6 month span, which pretty much is the fire season, the summer months, you're going to be working a lot, and I believe last year I got about 800 hours of overtime, and that's just overtime. Some of the other guys here, they got over 1,000 hours of overtime, which it's pretty normal. Um, like I think on the next slide on the cons, I put time away from family. So that is a con. You're making more money because you're making overtime, but then you're away from your family. So it kind of weighs itself out. And like I said, it's usually just in the summer months, for 6 months out of the year. Then during the winter, like we're at right now, it's not as busy, slows down a little bit more. So you get more of that home life.
You didn't put like danger for your cons.
Oh yeah, you know what? And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm here is the danger is exciting. It's for me, I enjoy it. It's fun. But yeah, I don't really have too many cons. I really love this job, and I do have that opportunity if I wanted to try and transfer over to the municipal department, but I enjoy what we do, and I enjoy fighting fire. I would say, and even speaking with somebody from a municipal department, about 85 to 90% of their calls are medical calls. So if that's something that really interests you, that would be a good avenue. But for us, it's the opposite. 85 to 90% of our calls are going to be fire. And then we still have, a little bit of medical calls thrown in there as well. So me personally, I love the fire part of it, and just being outdoors.
Mhm. Yeah, it's almost like two completely different jobs.
Yeah, it almost is. And like I said, growing up, I had no idea that this agency existed, or even a green fire truck for that matter. We're out in the mountains, kind of away from the public view, and we just do our job for, I guess, for what some say, low pay. And you got to be okay with that, and we are, because we enjoy this job. Like you see on my cons, protect and help communities. You get a great sense of pride and satisfaction from knowing that you helped protect a community that maybe up in Big Bear, one of the mountain communities in Big Bear, Arrowhead, people that live up in their cabins. And then another part of that job is being outdoors. I love being active and being outdoors. Camping, all that. Yeah, you're gonna get it here. You're outside a lot. Non-repetitive. That's exactly what it is. And to work every day, and you don't know what's gonna happen that day. You could be called to a fire, and then you're away from home for 2 weeks, and then you won't come back until that fire assignment is over. Or you could get a medical call that day, or you could get nothing and just do some station projects and some fuel reduction around the station. So every day is it's a roll of the dice. The crew camaraderie, like I said, we do about 1,000 hours of overtime in a fire season. So you're spending a lot of time with these guys in close quarters. You're in this engine behind me, and you're squished together, or you're in a hot shot buggy, and you're all just pretty much in that vehicle. So you got to get along with the guys you work with, or else it's going to be pretty miserable. and you got to rely on them as well. You know, my life kind of relies on them, knowing that they know how to do their job, and they know how to do my job as well, in case anything were to ever happen to me. And that goes as well as being physically fit. I know these guys are physically fit. If something were to happen to me, I know that they would be able to hike me out of a dangerous situation and back to a safe spot. And, you know, working with different equipment, like I just showed you, you know, chainsaws, you work with chainsaws, hand tools, portable water pumps. This engine right here behind me, you know, you got to learn how to do the pump and operate it. You know, things like that. We have, you know, drip torches, which we use, you know, to light fires. Yes, I did say we light fires. That is one of our defenses that we could use in tactics. So yeah, and then the physical training part of it. I like to exercise, and I like to be active, and yeah, every day you're gonna be doing that. You get a lot of that. So yep.
Did you do anything before you, is this something that you always knew you were interested in? Did you get some exposure when you were younger?
No. So when I was younger and even in high school, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I did have an interest in photography, and I was trying to pursue that. I took some classes and to see if that's something I would like to do. And I kind of just stumbled on this career. I started taking some classes at a community college at Rio Hondo, just to see what it was about, and just kind of kept taking classes. And then one time, one of the instructors for the Wildland Academy, which at that time I still didn't know what a wildland firefighter was, came in and, you know, said if anybody's interested, you know, come by and, you know, join the academy. And which I thought was just a regular class, and I went, and, you know, I was in for a rude awakening, and I just kind of stuck with it. And that was in 2007 when I started. So here I am, still here.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. I see on the left side, you say you have Explore Post Pathways programs. Are these like volunteer programs or internship
Yes,
programs?
so they are volunteer programs. The Explorer Post, that's going to be geared more towards the fire side. If you're interested in fire, I would recommend joining an Explorer Post. I believe there's one in Glendora, and there's also one somewhere over in the valley. I forget exactly where. But that would be the way to go, is to join the Explorer Post. And it is a volunteer program, and they pretty much almost like an academy. You'll go and exercise with them, and then they'll teach you some of the stuff that you might be doing on the job. Mm-hmm. The Pathways program, you know, I work for the United States Forest Service, and we are not only fire, but there's so many other things that you could do with this agency. There's, you know, land surveyor, a plant pathologist, a soil scientist, engineers, we have wildlife biologists, and law enforcement, and so on. There's so many other, but just to give a quick example, if you're interested in any of those, you know, if you like working with animals, being outside, studying their habitat, or even, you know, with trees and plants, that would be more of the Pathways program. And the Pathways would be more like an internship towards those types of careers.
Wow, that's great. That's great. I didn't even know about those.
Yeah, right. And you could find that information on the, you know, United States Forest Service website, or USDA, United States Department of Agriculture. Mm-hmm. If you go on that website, you'll see the Pathways program and stuff like that.
All right, I have a lot of questions, but I'm gonna let some of you ask some questions. I know Ellie asked, how do you control a fire and what do you use chainsaws for?
Okay, great question. So I'll start with the easy one. The chainsaws we use to cut the brush away. So right here we have trees and brush, and what we're trying to do is just cut the fuel and make a gap from, let's say if the fire's on this side and we have unburned fuel over here, we want to cut in the middle so that the fire has nowhere else to go. It stops because there's no more fuel. With the chainsaws, they're going to cut the brush and any trees that are in the way, and we're trying to make a line. And that's pretty much what they're doing, just removing the brush and the trees. Then behind me, and that's going to be used more on hotshot crews. So they'll go first, and then you have other guys. Sorry, coming in with tools like this, and you're just pretty much swinging these tools all day long and just digging, getting rid of any excess brush that the chainsaw couldn't get, or even the roots. And what we're trying to do is just get it down to bare minimal soil, so that there's no more fuel for the fire to keep spreading. And as far as controlling a fire, there's a lot of different ways we could do that. That was just one way that I explained, using chainsaws and tools to remove fuel. We could also lay hose, like what we do here on the engine, and it's, you know, real simple. It's just spraying water onto the fire and cooling it down. It's a lot easier said than done. And tip, this part, the wick, and then the fuel will come out from here. So this is always on fire, stays lit, and then we'll just tip it over, and the fire comes out, and we'll create our own fire to kind of give us a little buffer. And same concept as when you're cutting line with the chainsaw. All we're doing is taking away the fuel from the fire so that the fire doesn't have any more fuel to keep progressing. It's the same, a lot easier and a lot more fun.
Jacob asked, how long have you been a firefighter again? I think my connection's a little bad. How long have you been a firefighter?
Okay, so I started in 2007, but I did take a couple years off just for family time. But all in all, I have 11 years being a firefighter. This will be my 12th. So 12 years.
Has anyone near you died in a fire, and how dangerous is it really?
Unfortunately, yes. There has been some fatalities on fires that I have been on, and even serious injuries as far as burns or things of that matter. It's very dangerous. Not only do you have to deal with the fire, and if the conditions are right and the weather is right, and it also reacts to the topography with the forest, and everything's in alignment, a fire could move very quick and pick up very high speeds. And when you're hiking and you have all that gear and you're trying to go uphill, it's very hard to outrun that fire. So there have been a lot of burnovers that haven't ended so well. Aside from that, there's also the dangers of trees falling on you. When we're out there mopping up, once the fire has passed, we'll go out and make sure, mix the dirt around and try and cool it down as much as we can, because there is that chance of it reigniting with the winds. So that's what we call mop up. Just kind of cool the dirt and any other embers that might still be rekindling. There's a lot of fire weakened trees, and sometimes they could fall, or even limbs from the trees that are just hanging up above you. And if they're falling from a very high place and they're pretty heavy, they could hit you on the head. And, you know, unfortunately, there have been fatalities like that as well. And also with chainsaws, with the accidents, it's a very helpful tool, and we rely on it a lot, but it's also very dangerous. If you don't know, you know, how to use it, or you get tired and you're not holding the chainsaw correctly. I'll take some of these. I don't know if you could see these teeth, but it's very sharp. And if you know, you could cut yourself or somebody near you that's helping you. And like I said before, it's a very long time to get to a hospital. We're working in remote locations, a lot of times where people never been before. So, you know, just the time to get back to a hospital is that could be another way to get injured, seriously injured. Yeah, that was a good question.
Bella asks, how long does it usually take to put a fire out?
Wow. For our type of fires, for wildland fires, it's very common for these fires to last, you know, a few months, maybe even a couple weeks. If we're really lucky and we get to it really fast, maybe just, you know, about a day. And that's just, you know, knocking down the progression of the fire. But we, like I said, during the mop up, we want to make sure it's out completely, and that could last a couple more days once you have stopped the progression of the fire. But it's not uncommon for fires to go on for a few months, you know, or even weeks. Like the most recent one that we had here was the Bobcat fire. I don't know if you guys remember the Bobcat or seen it on the news, but that was just here across the street from our station. And that one, when did it start? I believe it started in August, and it went through until October. You know, just making sure that it's completely out. So yeah, they do last quite a bit.
Ellie asked, do you have any burns? And Andrew asked, have you ever put a fire out in water?
No, I have not put a fire out in water. I have not done that. That is possible though. If there is oil on the water, you know, oil, it kind of floats on the water. So it is possible for the fire to burn there, but no, I have not personally. As far as burns, there's been a couple of times where, you know, there's a 1st degree, 2nd degree, and 3rd degree burns. 1st degree burns is more just like a sunburn, kind of like if you would go to the beach and you stayed out too long and you get a sunburn. You could also get that from fire, just from the radiant heat if you're too close. I have experienced that a couple times, yes, and that's about it. And it is common. I don't know. You guys are used to, you know, the municipal departments fighting fire. They have their structure gear, you know, with their mask and their helmet. What we carry, we don't have a mask to breathe air or nothing like that. We just kind of go out like how you see us. Pretty much just with a regular hard hat helmet. We have a shroud back here that we could pull down and help cover our face just from the radiant heat, and just a t-shirt, and mine's a little dirty. I'm sorry about that.
Is that
you could see, so this is what we wear on a fire, and if you could see the light behind it, it kind of, and so it's not that thick. The material's not that thick. But this is all we got to wear on fires, and it'll help a little bit, shield you from fire, but you could still feel the heat, especially if you're really close.
I I have a question. Does anyone else have a question? You know how when I've heard that like if a fire's coming to you, you like dig a hole in the ground and you can kind of cover yourself. Is that a way to like there's nowhere to run, you can't outrun it? Is that like an actual survival possibility?
So you would want to, get away from any fuel, like, going back to the chainsaws and why we burn. If you find a spot that doesn't have any, brush, trees around you, anything that could possibly catch fire, that's what you would do. As far as digging the hole, that would be so you could get some fresh. The thing that is going to kill you, it's not so much the heat or the flames. I'm sorry, not so much the flames, but it's going to be all those hot gases from the fire and you breathing it in. Once you breathe it in, those hot gases, and it gets into your lungs, that's pretty much what's going to kill you. So digging the hole, that would be for getting fresh air and cooler air. And I'm sorry, but that also brings kind of to that point in our packs right here. We have our fire shelters. And it kind of goes along to what you were saying. So this is the last case scenario. All our other options are gone, and we're not going to be able to outrun this fire. This is going to be what's pretty much going to hopefully save us. This is our fire shelter, and it's pretty much just like a big sleeping bag that you put over your whole body, and you lie down on the floor, and hopefully the fire will pass. It could withstand about 500 degrees Fahrenheit of heat until it starts deteriorating. Here's a picture of what that would look like. So you'll be in there, and hopefully you don't take too much heat. Like I said, that could withstand 500 degrees Fahrenheit, but there have been instances where guys have deployed and it still wasn't enough. The fire was just too hot. A case in point would be the Granite Mountain Hotshots in Arizona. I believe we'll be on them. That's what happened to them. They deployed their shelters as a group, but the fire was just too hot, and unfortunately they did not survive.
Okay, 2 more questions. How much heat can your uniform withstand?
That is a great question. As far as a specific number, I am not sure. But like I said, you could, if I hold it up, you could see the light in the background. It's not very thick, but it does help some. The uniform is made out of Nomex, which is like a heat resistant material. So it can help. And like I said, it's kind of just like if I'm wearing this sweatshirt. So my face is still exposed, and so that's why if you lift your arm, you could block some of that radiant heat. But yeah, I'm sorry, I don't. As far as an exact number, I'm not quite sure.
And Elias, do you live at the fire station?
No. So that is a good question, and that's another difference from us and municipal department. So with municipal departments, it's very common for them to live there. They work 24-hour shifts. So they're there for 24 hours, and then they're off for, maybe for 2 days, and then they come back again for another 24. With us and our working schedule, it's just a normal working schedule like any other job. We work 5 days a week, and we alternate days off. So for myself, my days off are Friday and Saturday. So that means I go to work on Sunday and I get off on Thursday. And we'll come in at 9:30 during the summertime, and then we get off. And that's it. Weather permits. It depends on the weather. So if it's hot and very dry, there's no humidity, or we're getting strong winds, like when we get the Santa Anas, then they'll have us, work overtime, and you don't know what time they want you to stay. You could stay as late as 10 o'clock at night, and they tell you, okay, go home, but come back early, like at 6 o'clock. That's common. Or they could just tell you to stay at the station for 24 hours. And then in which case we'll just sleep here until they let us go home. And you don't know when that will be. But usually the weather dictates what our schedule is going to be like. So that was a great question.
Okay, I'm going to ask the last question.
Sure.
It might be a little bit of a political question, but would you say that, because it seems like there's more and more fires, wouldn't you say?
Right. Yes.
Would you say that would you attribute that to global warming, or would you attribute that to lack of funding in forest maintenance?
Okay. No, and it's a very hard question, but that is something that we do talk about. And just to let you know, and I'm sure you guys feel it as well, the summers have been getting hotter almost every year, and it seems like we go longer without having any rain.
Yes.
When I first started, I started as a seasonal firefighter, which means, I was only hired on during the fire season. And then once the winter came, they would lay us off. Now I'm a full-time employee. But my point being is, when I started, we would get laid off right before Thanksgiving in November. And even then it would, the season would start to slow down. This year, we had our seasonals extend up until last month, January, just because we hadn't been getting any rain, and the weather was still hot. We were still getting some winds, so that just kind of tells you right there, something's not right. It's not normal. The weather is getting hotter and drier. And as far as the funding, ourselves as an agency, it does seem like we don't have the enough funding as we would like, but I'm sure that's with everybody, every type of work, and all other agencies. Everybody always wants more money and stuff, but we are a little bit understaffed, and that kind of attributes also back to people wanting to make that switch from the wildland side of fire and to try and go to the municipal department. It would be nice to get a little bit more funding. Maybe we could hire more people and help out. But yeah, it doesn't always work that way. And what I mean by that is, the seasonals, we lay them off, once the winter comes around. But then during the winter, when you don't see fires in the mountains and stuff, we're out there and we cut line, and we're burning piles or what have you. And what we're doing is just kind of prepping for the next fire season. So we're making fuel breaks, getting rid of that fuel to kind of help us out, so we don't have to do it last minute. We're trying to get ahead fire, and just preparation.
Right. Well, thank you so much. I think I told you it would be 30 minutes and we're going on to 45, but that was great. It was so fascinating. I didn't even know so much about, I didn't even know that there was a totally different fire division. I mean, it totally makes sense now that there's like the city firefighters, and then the ones in the mountains where the wildfires go. And yeah, you seem to have the bigger fire job, whereas I feel like the city firefighters come out for every little thing that is not fire related. It's almost comical, like a huge fire truck coming and then someone had a tummy ache and they called 911 or something.
Yes, and that's exactly, and which is, you know, like everybody, you know, enjoys different things, but for me, I'm gonna stay on this side and just kind of respond to big fires. But yeah, you know, and they, you know, they also come over and help us out if need be, if we need to do some structure protection. They could kind of come over and help out with our fires as well.
Right. All right. Well, thank you so much, Salvador. If you guys can say thank you, maybe turn on your mics or something, and we'll let you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you. Sorry, hopefully I didn't keep you
Thank
just
you.
too long from your class.
Oh, no, not at all. They don't
Yeah,
have live
okay.
classes. Yeah, thank you so much,
Well, yeah.
Salvador.
Well, thanks for having me and giving me that time. And Kristen, hi, Kristen.
I think Kristen, your brother or somebody was in there too watching, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you have a
Okay,
very,
well, thank you very much, you guys. That was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it.
thank you. Have a good, safe fire season.
Thank you. Yes.